Well, good evening. It is I, Dennis, with the Fluno, and it is alive on Wednesday. What the hell is the date? It's the 25th of February. Tomorrow, Stellantis shall bequeath us with their incredibly bad earnings for 2025, and I can't wait. I actually may do a video on it. I mean, it's going to be bad. I have a little news story on it. Because yeah. Hey, Anthony's here. Hi, Anthony. Um, so yeah, this is a very interesting week because we have a little potpourri of everything. We have a little bit of First Brands, which is it's really getting bad. Everything's dead. All those brands are dead now. They're you can just count them as closed. Every last one of them. You count them as closed now. I did a video yesterday on Cardone, which losing them is just catastrophic. I can't even begin to contemplate how you're going to fix an American car without Cardone. Seriously, I don't know how you're going to fix an American car at this point. Cardone remanufactured brake boosters. They were one of the main one of the ones that did brake calipers and brake rotors. This is a problem, and that's just the main stuff. They did like anti-lock brake assemblies, mass air fuels things. Like they rebuilt the electronics on, especially at those earlier 2000 cars. They rebuilt all those electronics, and I don't know who else rebuilds that shit. I mean, seriously, I don't know who else. I mean, seriously, who else rebuilds those things at this point? So this is a problem. They had 40,000 parts in their catalog. So Fluto, I hope you better if you need something, you better run out and buy it now because they're already out of stock of stuff.
God only knows what I need with everything else, the projects, the building, the thinking what should come first, tops, tires, you know how it is.
Yes.
Endless love and hate.
Yes. But I mean, this is not good, and
That's terrible.
This is why I actually like doing BMW stuff now at this point, because I can always get parts. No matter what, I can always get parts for BMW. Any day of the week, I can buy something for it. Yeah, so now, right now, my Charger, unless something happens, it's going to be it's $500 to do a front brake job on the Charger.
Oh,
$500 to do a front brake job. Autobot Owl is out of the bar. Cool. Well, you just turn us on there. Actually, see if they can just put us on in the bar on the TV set, and then people can learn stuff about car shit. They can actually learn the car. They can do car things. Oh man, so it's just been that's really we need to have more of the car things in bars. So, all right.
Bars and bars. They go together great.
Yes, they do. I believe Blondie sang about that.
Yes, she
in Rapture.
Very good, yes. Now he only eats guitars.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right, so let's dive into this first disaster here. That's the update on First Brands. Now, I was so funny. I go through all my comments, and I had so many of them. It's taken me a while to get through a lot on my First Brands video, and it was truly amazing to see that people go, well, no, they're just gonna do 11. This is nothing. Ain't nothing gonna close. Somebody's gonna buy that all. No, dude, not gonna happen. That's not happening at this point. This is as dead as a doornail. It's as bad as I thought it would be, which I hope I was wrong. But they have they're just closing stuff down. In fact, they're not even obeying the WARN Act, where you're supposed to let the government know when you're going to fire 100 people or more all at once.
Yeah.
They're ignoring that. They don't care. I mean, what are you going to do? Sue them?
Right.
I mean, they're bankrupt. Doesn't matter anymore. So this is and I did the video yesterday on Cardone, and this is now going to hurt. This is going to hurt the average person. This isn't about car collectors. This is the person with the 15-year-old car as a daily driver, and they need a master cylinder, not a power booster, and no one has it. There's no rebuilt ones anymore, so hopefully they can go to buy a new one, which is $800 from a dealer, and that's how they have to fix their car. They're going to have to buy, a new part or have a local rebuild place and have the car out of commission for a few weeks, because I wouldn't trust a brake booster out of a junkyard. That would be, I'd get it at a junkyard, but most people don't have the skill to go to a junkyard and pull a booster out and then go and get it rebuilt. So this is how bad this is. Honest to God, the Cardone is just, and that was an American company, which is also something people were trying to, there was nothing Chinese about Cardone. They had plants all around the United States. Their headquarters were in Philadelphia. Seriously, it had one assembly plant south of the border of Mexico. So does Stellantis. Actually, when they were Dodge, they were building Hemis in Mexico. So that argument doesn't hold any water with me. It's no different at this point. And so this is bad. So First Brand's layoff begin as buyers fail to materialize. No kidding. Aftermarket plant suddenly closes doors as funding dries up. So that's all the brands we're going to lose right there. That's not great. I don't know what's going to happen with Draw Tight and Reese, because Takancha, those are your major aftermarket towing things. Those are the main players, and they're gone. Layoffs have begun at First Brand plants as bidders for beleaguered company fail to pan out. The company was up for sale after two former executives were implemented in sweeping fraud case and declared Chapter 11 in September. As it began the bankruptcy process, it secured more than $1 billion from lenders. But after burning through much of that, the company was unable to get more funding for its aftermarket businesses. OEMs Ford and General Motors and Harley Davidson stepped up to provide funding to keep business lines open to provide essential parts for their vehicles. And I don't think that worked. A plant in Emporia, Kansas closed Monday, ultimately affecting 130 of those. 118 were let go immediately, while 12 were assisting with the closing down of the Hopkins manufacturing plant. A letter to the city of Emporia said Hopkins facility will close permanently. As you may be aware, the company has gone to great lengths to avoid closing this facility, the letter says. What great lengths have you done? I'm confused over this. You went and you begged for more money after burning through $1 billion. What did you do?
Oh, my God.
I love it. They say many potential bidders are interested in continuing the Hopkins business. Announcing the closure any sooner than Monday would have jeopardized the possible sale of the plant founded in 1953.
Wow.
It makes towing products and accessories for automobiles and recreational vehicle market. So it sounds like it's like Reese or Draw Tight is from there. This is, let's see. In Illinois, First Brands closed Midwest Distribution Center in McHenry on February 3rd, laying off 389 workers. They also closed Champion Labs, a filter manufacturer in Albion. Same thing as situation in Kansas. So the company is laying off more than 100 employees in Texas at the Cardone Industries Harlingen and Arlington. Cardone makes a variety of aftermarket parts, including brakes, emission controls, and more. Those notices went out on February 3rd. Yeah, so there we go.
So does this mean Fram is also not?
They're done. They're done. Fram's done.
And all joking of quality aside, but really done.
They're done. Which is going to cause a massive problem for us, people that don't buy Fram, because now the filters that we like to buy are going to be harder to get. They're going to go way up.
Yeah,
I've already started stockpiling the filters for the Charger, and the BMW is not that bad. The German cars, they have their own supply, but like the Charger, I use the FLA1 on that.
Yeah, PLZ1, the big massive guy.
And honestly, hey, there's vintage 76 Viper Green. How you doing? Oh, Jamie Cotton. How you doing, Jamie? Yeah, no, and that's the one, it's the big one to use, but that's a very common
I better get
one.
a couple for my Lincoln, even though it's, kind of in mothball right now. I might as well get a couple.
Yeah, while they're only like $10 a piece, it would probably be a good idea to buy them now.
Yeah,
because they're probably honestly, real popular ones are probably going to go to $20, which is mind-numbing to even say that out loud.
I know. It should be $3.99.
Yeah, I know. What happened to the $3 oil filter?
But heck, I've always used like Pennzoil or something, little, the yellow one. Yeah, that's Pennzoil. Because when I was at Jiffy Lube 25 years ago, everything was Pennzoil. And so that's how I got to know the ones, no matter what you got, it was the big guy. So that's terrible. So, okay, that's on tomorrow's agenda.
Yeah. Because I've already, I like using the K&N filter on my Charger. It's actually a very good filter. But, I noticed the price creeped up. It was like 13. Now it's like 15. And, yeah, it's going to keep creeping.
That's terrible.
So that's where we are. And that's just one product for our car. It's like
air filter. I mean, and we're not bashing Fram, but for the economy conscious person, whatever, every 3,000, 5,000 miles, that was like, again, the $3.99 or $5.99. Now,
correct.
Heck, my Z3 one is probably cheaper than what these things are going to go through now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The whole point, the whole point that people missed was that you're taking a massive amount of supply out of the chain. This is and losing Autolite. Autolite's gone too. So there's a whole big thing of spark plugs that are now just gone. And the thing is,
Trico's gone.
Trico, no wiper blades. Wiper blades are going to get harder to find. That's a massive supply of wiper blades. So this is how bad First Brands has gotten, and there is no solution in the near future, none. I think that maybe in a year or two after the lawsuits get settled and the James brothers go to jail, probably prison. People will probably be able to buy the facilities and the IP. The intellectual property is the part that's worth something, because all those parts they have intellectual property, patents on it. That's theirs. It is, even though it fits a manufacturer's car, they have their own patent on that thing because it's something different about it.
Right.
And it's even when they buy it, these places are going to be shut down for a while. It's going to take months for them to ramp back up because you have to rehire people, and then you got to get everything rolling. You got to get your suppliers rolling. You're looking at a flaming disaster. And I just there's no, and China is not going to fill the bill on this because, once again, maybe for manufacturing things, I guess, but the problem is they can't do rebuilding. You can't send. It makes no sense to send massive amounts of parts over there, and then they have to have factories making the little parts to be able to rebuild the bigger part, and then they have to ship it all. I mean, the price of it will be basically the same as a new part. I mean, especially like anti-lock brake controllers, because think about this. Most cars that are on the road have that. And the average age of a car is, 14 years old? So, amazing. I mean, especially in an American car, when it's like, 15, 20 years old, and there's a lot of those out there, that thing may fail. And a brand new one is, if you can get one, is freaking $1,000.
Right. It's not like
$300.
It's not like an air filter where technically the technology is all over the globe, right? And they can make those duplicates. Not thinking it's going to be great, but to actually now manufacture specific parts that are made for certain components that have gone on for years, and to know how to make the tooling, completely different story.
Correct. And that's why this is probably one of the worst things that could have happened to the automotive business in the United States. And it doesn't just affect, see, a lot of people think it's just, the pushing of electric appliances. No, they're affected too, because they use brakes. And the thing is, a lot of them are older now. And, are you going to spend, $400 a caliper at the original dealer, or are you going to get a rebuilt one or a new one made from a manufacturer for half the price? You're going to get the one half the price. I mean, that's just sanity right there. Independent shops are going to get slaughtered on this. I mean, they're going to get hurt so bad because, the big thing with an independent shop is that you try to get the best deal for your customer. When you're a good shop, you're trying to get a good deal for them. And so then, like, say somebody comes in with a brake problem, you get remanufactured parts from, because Cardone, for the most part, stuff was not bad. I mean, it really wasn't. Maybe once in a while they had one that's bad, but every rebuild you get a chance of one being bad. But the thing is, they'll save them, half, maybe even more. It only costs like 30% of what it would have cost going to the dealer. And this is kind of where we are with this. And I have a feeling I have a bunch of more videos coming, because this is really bad. Cardone had 6,000 employees.
It's interesting, Dennis, you bring up the number. I actually have a book that's not just from, like, my friend John gave it to me from Lincoln Land. This is his dad, from like 1953. And it was so many moons ago, talking even back then how don't underestimate your independent shops. Sometimes they might be even better than because even back then, dealerships, they knew how they were making money. And it goes on talking about how a lot of independent shops take such pride in their work and this and that. And it shows the guy with the old school compute, the big machines and everything.
Right.
And that's 70, 3 years ago, this book is. And it's, whether it's now or then, a lot of these folks are very reputable, very honest. They save the customer money. A lot of them have very loyal customers that keep returning. Heck, we used them even when I sold, pre-owned cars. We had foreign car, independent shops who were outstanding. They were former, like, Mercedes-Benz techs at the dealership, brilliant guys, and they had their initial probably in business, but they saved people a lot of money. And they were very, very well qualified, clean shops, great reputation, and very knowledgeable. And it's going to hurt a lot of people.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's what I'm talking about. The ripple effect on this is bad. And what's so funny is that I'm not one of these people that says the government should, but a lot of this was caused by them, like Ray Bestis going into bankruptcy the first time was because of the cleanup of all the asbestos around their plant. They basically forced him into bankruptcy. You can't have this type of stuff happening without government regulation. And here we are. And yet I have not heard a peep from any of these Congress people who are running this year in these districts where these people are losing their jobs to find a way to solve this issue, because this is going to hurt Ford and General Motors too. And we're very, very sure of that, because they threw money into the fire. And this is, at the end of the day, this is going to hurt. I mean, it's going to hurt the automobile industry up from top to bottom and across the board. Anything done in the United States, it's going to hurt badly. So, congratulations, James Brothers. You're going to bring the automotive world to their knees. Dicks. So let's move on. This is a story you sent me, and I actually found a little bit of update on it, and it's absolutely it's General Motors. General Motors never ceases to amaze me. They really don't. They really don't. They seem to always find a way to absolutely screw their customer. They're good at this. They've perfected it over the years. GM's 10-speed transmission recall just got even messier. GM has added more trucks and SUVs to its 10-speed valve body recall campaign. It also needs some owners to come back for a do-over. Congratulations, GM. And in this article, it's explaining what's happening with this. Okay. The valve bodies on the transmissions kind of lock up. And so what happens is the transmission stops spinning. It basically goes like into park at highway speeds because it's 8th to 5th gear shift. That's when it does it. So basically, they did one for 2022. And now they have to go back and get them reprogrammed to keep the rear wheels from locking up. But then when they did that, they put the wrong version of the software, so they have to go back and get it redone again.
How hard is that?
It's obviously very difficult. Now, if you look at the vehicles that they have done, the Chevy Tahoe Suburban, Yukon XL, and Escalade ESV. Think about that for a second. As they point out in this article, these are all high-end vehicles. People dropped coin on these things.
I saw the picture and I was going to say, you've got to be kidding me. You buy this $100,000 car and your transmission, which we've been building for 75 plus years now, automatics, getting better, I guess. No way.
Yes, as effectively, as they say in the article, this made GM high-end customers the guinea pigs for this new technology. Congratulations.
Is this the same 10-speed that GM and Ford made together, or is this a different transmission altogether?
It is the same transmission, but the thing is, the basic design is the same. It is the details that are different. Ford obviously did a better job with theirs, even though that does have problems because it's a friggin' 10-speed transmission because it's a 10-speed transmission. But this one, they went and they added something called electronic transmission range select, which is electronic shift by wire system. So the valve body is electronically controlled, which most of them are now, but this is all the way down from like drive-by-wire for everything to the transmission.
Wow.
So yeah, 43,000, and that, you know what, that's got to be a large percentage of the cars sold because, I mean, honestly, they don't sell that many of these. These are expensive.
Yeah,
43,000 of them. And then they had 1,000 trucks. So you had your the 2,500, 3,500 Silverado, Sierra, and 1,500 Silverado and Sierra. So these, I know the 25 and 35s, those are work trucks. So God forbid any of those lock up when they're driving because they could be towing something, which is yeah. This is really, really terrible. So, to clarify, the software update does not fix the inherent issues with the valve body, nor does it prevent further deterioration of performance. It simply prevents the transmission from commanding random, unsafe shifts at speed. GM recently released an updated valve body in its light-duty 10 speeds that it hopes to provide permanent relief to its customers. So, Fluno, this is only the software thing they're doing for these 43,000 people is basically a Band-Aid.
A Band-Aid. Basically
telling the transmission, hey, don't shift from 8th to 3rd at 70 miles an hour, please. Literally, that's what this is.
This is as bad. And my Lincoln has never happened to mine, but in the late 60s, it was common for C6s, not the transmission, but the parking pawl on Ford Mercury Lincolns to pop out while your car was running, boom, into reverse. And the recall fix that, this is true, The recall fix was that Ford sent customers a sticker that they put on their inside their interior somewhere that said, "Do not leave your car in park while it's running." That's the equivalent. Actually, that might have been even more effective than this, because at least that. But yes, that's a true story. And yes, I've heard numerous stories of people with their parking all the neutral safety switch. It gets a lot, and that's not when they were 40 years old. I'm talking like back then they knew about it, and that was the first thing I learned when I started driving my car is whatever you do not. And here's the problem too. Oh, just put the e-brake on, no big deal. Most of those e-brakes back then, very ahead of their time, were vacuum operated. So like on my
you're joking.
So I can actually, believe it or not, I've tested it. Not that I had to. I can actually pump my e-brake, while it's running, and actually use it as a true emergency brake, because it's actually not locking. It's actually pumping the emergency brake. So when you turn the car off and you put it on, when you start the car up and put it in gear, the vacuum releases it. So it's not like you can put it in park and put your e-brake on the car, which would be great. Now, again, brilliant idea where, hey, it's an e-brake that actually could stop you when you're driving. But yes, that was the fixes. They sent their owners a sticker to just remind them, by the way, your car's going to might pop out of gear while it's running. So please turn it off. That's how they fixed it. That's a true automotive history report.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Wow. That makes the Pinto seem not so bad.
No, right. But that was just the mentality back then. Like, okay, thanks. I just bought in today's money, $70,000 luxury car, and it might pop out of gear on me. Don't give it 40 years to do it. No. It'll happen from the factory. Jesus Christ. But the reason I sent you this article, Dennis, is that what made me, and I hope you don't mind me flinging you all these things all the time for you to just filter through. What made me think about it was the story you talked about, the Jeep having the lockup. And I forgot, was that a transmission or was that the EV Jeep? I forgot.
That was the EV. That's the 4xe. The whole drivetrain would actually stop moving.
Okay, so that triggered my mind. And I'm like, wait a minute. He told a story about this. Sounds familiar. And that's what made me look into that, saying, you got to be kidding me.
So I have a feeling it's not the last time we're going to hear about this either. I have a feeling there's a class action coming pretty soon. Because Stellantis has class action on those 4XEs, 4 recalls, recalls, and they can't fix it. You'll just drive down the road and it'll just stop. Everything with this auto motivation will stop, and it's not like you can just throw it in neutral. It just stops. It literally just stops. So they're especially since it's Escalades and stuff. Yeah, there's going to be class actions. This is I can't. General Motors never ceases to amaze me, man. Remember, this is the company that gave us the X body, the car that was so poorly done that it had one of the largest recalls ever, because you drive down the road and the rear brakes would suddenly just lock up.
Yeah.
Completely lock up. Like there was no way to undo it. They'd lock up and you just spin. I think it was at a front wheel drive, so you really you'd have a real fun time there.
Yeah, the X cars,
the X cars, and actually, and we got to remember though that their head engineer became the head of Chrysler.
Right. Great video. I want to throw it out there real quick. Great video on Lee Iacocca. Just want to let you know.
Yep, it's amazing what hubris and having
a grudge and ego.
Ego. Yeah. Those things really, but you know what? Right now, we would kill to have somebody that competent.
It's true.
Because right now, we don't have a lot of competent people in Detroit. It really is not good at all. So let's move on to one of my favorite subjects, Stellantis. Next week we'll have full details and we can laugh at them. So right now, Stellantis is poised to lose 2025 with lots of money. Yep. And morning shift. Let's see. I like how they blame slow EV sales How about bad product mix? I mean, come on. It's stupid product mix. Let's see. So in the first half, Stellantis had an income of $500 million. And that's because they were still selling the previous generation Chargers and Challengers. Those actually made money. And then in the second half, this is what they're estimating, $1.5 billion, which I have a feeling to be much, much more. Let's see. And I think that was about it. So that's their little thing. That's because we really don't have any information on Stellantis losing all their money. Because that's tomorrow that comes out. And, and then we also find out full details of the Charger and the EV and all the other stuff that they're rolling out. We get to see, how bad it really, really ended up being. This company is absolutely garbage. I mean, they seriously are. They're garbage. I don't understand. They just came out with an EV Jeep for some psychotic reason. Why? Nobody wants it.
I love how they're blaming slow EV sales. Well, that's a given. I mean, that's like
it's like, come on, guys, really? Didn't you guys read the room? Weren't they reading the room? I mean, seriously, even with the 7,500, the sales had already everybody that wanted one got one.
And, what's the 7,500? Oh, you mean the
tax incentive? Yep.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So I mean, I'm just at the point where it's like, okay, it's literally not, it's literally not a, it's. I was going to do another article, but I had to make a whole login. I don't care. All right, but it's not like it was a surprise. I mean, Ford kind of hedged their bets a little bit, at least, because they at least made a separate division and go, well, yeah, if it fails, it fails. And then, kind of walk away from it. But, they went and they just got rid of stuff that sold. And now they are just, done. And the funny thing is that I had to go try to drive one of the new Huracan Charger things, but when I've been reading is everybody driving them, they've been whelmed. That's the word for it, whelmed. Yeah, it's really not an exciting car. It really doesn't feel that fast. It's 5,000 pounds and it feels it. 5,000 pounds. Actually, it's over 5,000. It's four-wheel drive. It is a heavy, heavy car, and it is. I haven't. I imagine they'll sell 20,000 of them this year, and which is not enough. That's not enough to make a division survive. You can't do that. You can't sell 50,000 Durangos and 20,000 and 70,000 for Dodge. I mean, Dodge used to sell, and it's not that long ago. Like 10 years ago, Dodge sold like 600,000 vehicles. Yeah. 600,000. And now they won't break 100 total. They wouldn't. I don't think Chrysler's going to break 100 this year. I don't think the minivan. I think the minivan's done. I think the reputation in that thing is way out ahead of it. That Pentastar is such a bad engine. It is such an incredibly bad engine. I can't fathom why anybody would run out and buy one of those. I just don't. And I have yet to hear. Actually, I have just saw this about a new vehicle for Chrysler. They have not released any type of timeline for anything, an SUV, a car, nothing. There's been nothing.
They're done.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just basically dead man walking at this point. Here we go. Oh, this is a chef's kiss. You know how we have a chef's kiss? This is the chef's kiss. That is the new Chrysler Pacifica minivan. Can you see that?
It's revealed. It's revealed.
This is what they're working on. This is 2027. So they're not working on anything else. They have nothing else on the burners except this really hideous, and I mean that is hideous, minivan.
Jeez.
This is what they're working on. They're spending all their time. This is what they're spending all their time building,
Right,
is the
because
minivan.
they're so popular.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, Chrissy.
It's sad.
This is why I guess they have the broad as the head of it, Chrissy Fuel. I mean, because I guess for minivans, because I mean, she literally is the most incompetent head of a car company I know. I mean, honest to God, I can't. Mara Barra, at least at times, has flashes of competency, like making sure they have gas cars and stuff, and not screwing the Corvette up. But this is Chrysler. Here's your Chrysler product for 2027. Tim Miller. How you doing, Tim Miller? So yeah.
103-year-old history down to this.
This is what it's down to. It is literally down to a new front end on a minivan. This is it. This is all we're talking about at this point. This is how bad. This is how bad it is. Like, Car and Driver had to look hard and long to find something to talk about for Chrysler.
Ugh.
And this is literally, at least they got rid of the plug-in hybrid, which was an absolute disaster. But this is I love it. Are you looking forward to the 2027 Pacifica? No. This is, and Car and Driver is no longer a magazine that, like, people that like cars read, because it's garbage. Because 38, there's still 38%, unless they really are wanting this. I love it. They're electric Pacifica after the new. Yeah, there's gonna be no electric Pacifica. This is it. You're gonna have the one with the Pentastar 6 in it. That's what that's what you got.
Let's double down on failure. Hey, what else might not make this sell? Let's make it electric. That's going to be a real chart topper.
Oh yeah, all those soccer moms love having to worry about charging their thing.
Jeez, the Packard Hawk was a better idea than this.
This is Chrysler, the company that brought us the Hemi to the masses. This is them. This is what's left. This you have Chrissy Fuel there, rambling about the Halcyon project, which is never going to happen ever. And yeah, there it is. There is your Chrysler product for 2027. Can't wait till people start restoring those in 30 years.
Yeah. Dennis, I just want to throw out that as somebody who's always been like Ford/GM, but actually more even Ford. My dad just kind of bounced here or there, whatever, growing up, But, the old joke was, except for my uncle I told you about, who would buy the same, from the Plymouth dealership from 48 on, for better or for worse. I got to say, of course, the old joke was, if you can't identify it, it's a Chrysler product, right? Because it's a unique looking car.
Right.
I got to say, because of these shows and just, and knowing you forever, but I mean, you've really helped educate me on Chrysler past. I've been really diving more into Chrysler products. Like, I even sent you that one with that awesome interior, that plaid. I would own that car. That, what was it, the 75 Newport? Hey, yes. Look, I would take that any day over some new product by this company. Okay?
Well, it rides better. Rides better than any of these things.
Yeah. But so I've really been diving into Chrysler products now and trying to educate myself on all of its quirks and features, as a certain YouTuber out there says.
Yes, lots of quirks and features. Here we go. Rooney 00. Styling Q stolen from every popular car on the market. Absolutely. They literally looked at a Hyundai lot and just went, oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
They literally took every Hyundai front end and just mashed it together, and they made this. Oh, Christ. It's like Stevie Wonder did the front end. I mean, that is just that's hideous.
Yeah. That was another old joke. I'm like repainting a car like Stevie Wonder's holding the brush and Ray Charles is helping. He's mixing the paint.
Exactly. This is how bad. This is how bad it's getting at this point. I mean,
God.
this is such a tough time to be a car guy. I mean, because oh God, there's barely anything. There's barely anything that's 20 years old that you really want to go and fix.
Yeah.
Or if you can't, of course, you probably can't because there's no parts for them. But I mean, oh man, the new stuff is just uninspiring. I'm so just like I haven't bought a car magazine outside of like an old Chrysler magazine in years. I have no desire. I used to look forward
Yeah.
to the like the Motor Trend new car edition.
Yeah.
That came out in like like May. Came out
And it
in
was
May.
like that thick. It was like
I actually
thick.
have some of them here. I have, and they're this thick, and they had all the models coming out in September and October.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, look at this, what's coming out to market. Wow.
Heck, even the Civic was exciting. I mean,
yeah, exactly. At least it was like, cool. Wow, look at they're doing. Wow. You can look at the options you get on these cars. Wow, look at they're getting back. And now it's just like
and we talked about it. I got the year for, not to retell the story, but I got the Motor Trend thinking, oh, I haven't had a hard copy mag in forever. So I got 2 years for $12. I think I kept 3. Car of the year, Vet versus Mustang. Heck, even like the hatchback Comparo was better than, like, I'm reading about like my Elantra, and somehow that is like more exciting than anything. It was terrible. I was like, this is so sad. Like, I'm not actually being nasty. Awful. Yeah. And not to go into this topic, but biased in a certain way.
They absolutely are biased.
It's political. I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm just saying.
Well, you got to remember they're owned by bigger companies and they have an agenda, and you know, a lot of it's not car driven.
It used to be so much fun, just like, oh, here's the new issue. Get it. I had a subscription for my whole life for new car magazine, even 2000s. Something kind of new coming out, you know?
Exactly.
No.
So speaking of, of stuff coming out, and I saw this article, and it's a Ford thing, and honestly, I look at Ford at times, and I'm just like, man, there's sometimes you're so good, and then there's sometimes you're just like, dude, I've been drinking. I mean. So wait, here we go. 4339JK. I stuck with Auto Week for a while after he gave up Motor Trend and Car Driver, but actually got tired of reading about the imports, and that was 15 years ago. That's all they have to talk about. It's literally all they have to talk about now.
Yeah.
And now the magazines were just pushing electric garbage, and it's just like, no, that's not it. You know. Timmy Mill wants, he's all on the CUDA thing, like the 7 CUDA just now with the space. No, actually, Stellantis needs to make the Coronet again. They need a 4-door. They need a 4-door car like nobody's business,
right?
Because they need a 4-door car, and actually, that's my main story at the end of this, because they really do. The 2-door Charger is going to be a flop. Yeah. Absolutely. The insurance on it's going to be brutal. Coupes, as you say, are not in fashion. They really aren't. They're not in fashion. No. It's a very small part of the market now. And,
big time.
The 4-door, it really isn't a traditional 4-door. Kind of, as a 4-door, it's still kind of looks like 2-door, which makes it weird because it's a 4-door. So it's and it's too much horsepower. So it's not really. It's just not a car that people are gonna want. I mean, there's so many other cars you can buy that are less money and have close to that space, but they don't weigh 5,000 pounds and they don't get 16 miles to the gallon, because that's what that car gets, is 16 miles to the gallon, which is freaking mind-numbing. It is mind-numbing. They got rid of the Hemis because they used too much gas. The 5.7 did much better than that thing. The 5.7, sure. You can get 30 on the highway with that thing all day long, the 5.7. And now they have a car that can't get 25 with a turbo engine in it. Nice going.
The future is here.
Future is here. I want to go back to the past.
I know.
So you'll remember the Lincoln Blackwood, right? You remember
Yeah.
that? They took the F-150 and they tried to make it a luxury vehicle.
Yep.
You remember
For one or two model years. That's it.
2 model
With
years.
the barn doors.
Yep. So remember they did that. Well, Ford, as usual, can't let a stupid idea not come to life. Here it is. Feast your eyes on that. The Ford rumored Bronco-based Lincoln. Sounds like it might be a Blackwood all over again.
I've been watching videos on this for some Ford dealership that the guy keeps discussing his Lincoln Bronco. And I'm like, what is it? Customized? I guess not.
Yep. Remember, the Blackwood is an interesting vehicle in Lincoln's recent history. Based on a Ford F-150, got a Navigator face, 4-seat interior, rear-wheel drive, and a carpeted bed. Remember, it had a carpeted bed in there.
Yeah.
It was weird in all the right ways. I don't think so. It didn't sell. So
No.
It wasn't that weird in that many ways, was it now? Yep. Blackwood. Yeah. It was just probably why it flopped. Yeah. The Blackwood was less usable than both its F-150 counterpart and its closest competitor, the Escalade EXE, which being more expensive than the latter, Lincoln just sold 3,383 of them in 2002. Actually, there are 2 of them. There are 2 of them in my area. 2 of them. They're actually collector's items now. I mean, they are. They're so rare. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
They're rare. Now a rumor from Auto Week suggests Ford might be reapproaching the Blackwood strategy again, but instead of giving its most popular truck a luxury overhaul, they're doing the same with the most interesting SUV, the Bronco. The report, citing unnamed sources, claims Lincoln could introduce a body-on-frame SUV that uses the Bronco underpinnings before the end of the decade, which isn't that far away. And it's going to target some serious heavy hitters in the luxury off-roader game from Auto Week. The 2-row Lincoln will ride on a body-on-frame platform that underpins the Ford Bronco, according to one of the sources who drew the comparison to the Merc G-Wagon, which also makes the Range Rover look like another likely target. Yeah, the report claims the upcoming Lincoln badge Bronco SUV will use a Lincoln-style fascia seen on the brand's current cars with a softer sheet metal edge akin to something like a shrunken Navigator. It's unclear whether the means to keep the Bronco's powertrains their signature removable roof and door pieces. Ford authorities speculates that Lincoln may be closely related to the Ford Everest, which is actually a really cool vehicle made in Australia, a foreign market SUV that uses body-on-frame structure similar to the Bronco, albeit without the removable body panels. That's why they don't sell it here, because it competes with the Bronco. Will the SUV actually work? Luxurious off-roaders are all the rage right now. Just look at the sales of vehicles like Range Rover Defender and Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. It only makes sense that Lincoln wants to get on the action by building something to compete in the segment. It's a good way to shift public perception that Lincolns are only purchased by old people. Plus, the Bronco platform, with all its off-road prowess, is right there for the taking. For such a vehicle, I lost my train. For such a vehicle to succeed, it is important to look back on why the Blackwood failed. There wasn't one obvious reason. No, there's a lot of them. There's a bunch of small things that came together to make the truck unappealing to the typical pickup truck buyer. For one, it was pretty impractical as a pickup truck in every way but one. Sure, it had the power at F-150, could tow 8,700 pounds. It only had 4 seats, 2 drive wheels, and a limited case for use of people who use their trucks for daily drivers. There's the bed with the stainless steel liner around it. Also, you can damage that. Then there was the bed, which really was not a traditional bed, but really more like a fully sealed trunk, complete with carpeting and aluminum trim. Pickup truck beds are normally used for utilitarian work, like moving dirt, tools, supplies, and hardware. So having a bed cover in a soft carpet limited who could be able to use the Blackwood. Price was a deterrent. It was $55,000, twice the price of an XLT.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, and there's now, of course, what the Ford equivalent is now, the Platinum F-150, which is $100,000. Yes, Howard Stern did own a G-Wagon. Yes, he did. Yes, vintage 76. G-Wagon has been around since 79. It is based on a German staff car. Cool, huh?
Yes.
From World War II. You know, guys, the little mustache guy. Austrian painter. Ford learned its lesson, obviously. Several years ago in 2009, the company took a different approach of luxury trim versions of F-150, leaving that job to Lincoln in the form of the F-150 Platinum. The trim remained the cornerstone of F-150 lineup, and it makes up a small percentage of sales. Yes, and it produces high margins. Yes. My point here is the Bronco-based Lincoln can't just be a useful Bronco with different face and soft leather inside. It needs to be set apart from that big Ford version it doesn't have. Maybe fully revamped luxury interior, hybrid powertrain, which I don't know if coming. Better yet, a V8, not coming. It can't just be a V6 powered four-door Bronco with a Lincoln badge and different body panels. That's not enough. Let's see. The current Navigator starts at $95,000. 95 grand for a Navigator. 90
For an expedition.
A fancy expedition is $95,000.
But hey, at least the transmission won't lock up.
That's true. So yeah, but these Platinums, these are $100,000.
Amazing.
The F-150 Platinums are $100 grand.
My God.
Is to start. Hey, G Cannon in the house. Hi, G. So yeah, so this is Ford. I'm unsure how this can work. I don't know. I mean, we have a Bronco. It's good for an off-road vehicle. I mean, really, for an off-road vehicle, it's not a bad ride. But as a luxury vehicle, you'd be pissed off. The ride's rough. I mean, it's a truck.
I'll play devil's advocate. Okay, so back to the G-Wagon for one. Yes, like correct. It's literally it's been modernized, but technically it is a 70s car. Okay, but it is such a ridiculous status symbol. Small, narrow, this and that. Look, I don't own one just because it's kind of cool, fine, whatever. That's cool, whatever. Okay, it's that kind of vehicle. Now, don't forget, not only they had the Blackwood, then they tried it again, and it was called not MK. It was supposed to be Mark, but no one got that. The Mark LT. That was basically that was actually a very, very bad. At least the Blackwood had some cool stuff going on to make it kind of different. The Mark LT was your F-150 leather clad. Let's just call it like the King Ranch version of the F-150, right? That one I think I made that for like 3 or 4 years.
I forgot about this thing.
Yeah, so they tried it again and watered it down a little more affordable, and it was more F-150 than anything else. Okay, fine. The one thing I will say about this, I would never, price point aside, okay, it's such a statusy symbol now. I see what it's an SUV versus a truck, okay? Anyone who bought a Blackwood or a Mark LT, they weren't going to use that for their truck thing. They were going to, it's worse than even that's basically the F-150 headlamps with this. They just plug and play the grill. There we go. Okay. Nothing really different on it. They switched out the logos and the rims, and it was a leather clad F-150. More standard, no barn doors, regular tailgate, beyond badge engineering. But with this, I can see what they're trying to do. And the reason I say that is because, one, no one would take this vehicle off-road. It would be strictly statusy. Maybe they could get a few bites away from the Range Rover and the G-Wagon, maybe. But the problem is that it's still, and I'm not knocking Ford, it's a Ford Lincoln. And if you can afford to buy the G-Wagon for your ridiculous, look at what I have driving in this antiquated vehicle with some screens now in it, because they are really pretty and they're solid. They're old school. The doors are small, yada, yada, yada. I can see what they're doing. There goes some guy, my diesel neighbor. I know what they're thinking, but it's not going to work. And I'm contradicting myself. I know what they're thinking for the statusy aspect, but no one equates a Lincoln, sadly, with the G-Wagon or the Range Rover, which is sad because, in the 60s, like my era Lincoln, they actually compared my era Lincoln to Rolls Royces. That's how quality and how well made those cars were back then to go against Rolls Royce. And they were in comparison tests. I'm sorry, I'm not knocking the Bronco, I'm not knocking Ford. They're going to leather clad it up, do all this, blah, 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 make it look glitzy. So the thought is great, but the execution, it's just, who wants this?
Yeah. And that really is the problem.
They're going to have 3 strikes in a second.
Well, they already have 3. Because we all remember that they tried to go after BMW with a Lincoln LS. Yeah. They failed miserably with the Lincoln LS. It went for 6 years, and I actually test drove one. I wanted to buy one. I actually, in 2001, I wanted to buy a Lincoln LS. I wanted to buy a stick shift.
Absolutely.
The stick only came in the 3.8, which I was fine with. I didn't care. I didn't need a V8. But unfortunately, the experience of going to Lincoln and having Lincoln salesmen basically treat me like a Lincoln salesman, slimy American car salesman. Yeah. I've never been turned off from all my life. Plus, on the test drive, we went down North Boulevard. If you're familiar with it, he knows what I'm talking about. It's a small road. At one point, I was in the passenger seat, and the man was doing 100 miles an hour. I'm not kidding. It actually was that fast.
Jeez.
Because it was the V8 one showing me how fast it was. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want this car. I immediately walked over to Reeves and bought a BMW. Yeah. I was just beside myself. I'm like, so I couldn't get a stick at all. He's trying to push this V8 on me, which was like 10 grand more, and I just didn't want it. And I was just like, why?
But that right there, Dennis, shows it's like we being American car companies, we get so close, and you offer the stick only in the 6, where unlike the 540, which when I was in my 20s, oh my God, 540i, 4-door, yada, yada, yada. That was my true dream car. Even if it was a 4-door, I wanted a 540i. So I still would love a 540i stick.
Yes.
Why didn't we say, hey, what did the Germans do? We have to dumb it down. And why? Because unfortunately, when you think of a Link, it's the same thing would happen with Mercury. You put it in a Mercury dealership where, I'm not being nasty, middle-aged people are like, I don't want this. So they're making this Lincoln sports sedan that should be for younger people, but they're technically marketing for folks who wouldn't buy it to begin with.
Right. So G. Canada is asking an odd question. I guess he never sold cars. And when you sell a car, the first thing you do is you drive the guy out. So they can sit there and feel, smell, touch, whatever. And they're actually kind of enjoying the car because it's nice in what they came in. So you're basically getting them hooked on the car before they drive it.
Right.
And that was this part of the drive, which he did horribly wrong. But that's a whole thing you learn when you're selling cars, is that you bring them out, and then you go and you have them drive, and then you go to a place where you has good lighting, looks nice, you can turn around, it's safe, and you could show them the car, and then go and switch, and then have them drive back because you know the route. Yes, and I was just about to bring up the engines, because it wasn't even the 5-liter. It was that piece of garbage 3.9 that they had in the Thunderbird. That horrible 3.9. I'm just like beside myself how bad it was. And it was only the 3-liter 6. It wasn't even the 3.8. It was the 3-liter. So they did everything wrong on this engine, on this car. Everything wrong on this car. It was actually rode really nice. It's just was and that just really wasn't it just wasn't well thought out. And my 3 Series was just a nicer car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the same. They don't swing for the fences. They come short. And I knew someone that had an LS. Actually, Dan had an LS from his brother, but I knew someone else that had like an 06, and it was a really nice, sporty sedan, but they just missed the mark.
Yes.
And again, the mentality already was, and look, let me tell you, I love the Lincoln Town Car, etc. I mean, I can act like an old man too. But that's the problem, is that they weren't doing a good enough job to bring in the younger buyer.
No.
Okay.
No, this is an American thing. Hell, this is every dealership. I mean, outside every dealership in America, unless you actually know the people, then you could get away without them doing this. Because I've done that with BMW dealerships. They just gave me the keys and I went out for a ride. But most of the time, it's standard procedure, and your sales manager will lose his shit if you didn't do this. They'll jump down your throat if you didn't do this. It's a tactic.
Yeah, and the neat thing is that now when I would go on test drives with people, since we're on this topic, and I always preferred selling pre-owned cars, mainly because, well, one, there was actually better money, but two, I like using my automotive knowledge. I mean, to be honest with you, anyone can sell a brand new car. Here's your window sticker. Here's your this. Here's your this. Here's your invoice pricing. We're done. Have a nice day. Great, cool. It's a brand new car. Pre-owned, you really actually have to use automotive selling, but your knowledge and your enjoyment of the car, and be part of this scene that we're all in here, right? So if I got in the car with someone and they'd sit down, I actually would get in. I would say things like, make sure your seat is your seat comfortable? Is your, check your mirrors, check your this. It's yours. And when they got behind the wheel, and once we got on the road, I told them where to go. I didn't say a word. I let them literally just eat it up, because you don't want, I'll tell you right now, as a former car salesman, I almost didn't buy my last Honda. I finally told the guy, I said, look, stop touching the buttons, because it's my job to enjoy the car. Don't be shifting things and running your mouth. There's plenty of time to talk. Every day, fun on your feet, business on your seat. Okay,
right.
So when I was on a test drive, I'd let the customer, I wouldn't say a damn thing. I just let them eat it up, and it's like that first bite of steak, the most delicious part of your meal. You let people take the car home for a few days, like they used to do sometimes. Oh, take it for a weekend. The problem is by the time you bring it back and you're done using it to move like sod around, you're like, I did that one time with Dan, actually. You're kind of bored. You want them to love that first piece of steak, okay? That first bite, that really enjoyable. Then you work the deal fine. But a lot of salesmen like to just, and I know I'm verbose, so I know I'm the pot calling the kettle black here, but when you're in that passenger seat, you let that customer totally become one with the car. And that alone is psychological enough for the selling. When you're done, that's when you ask questions. That's when you go through things. That's when you do this and that. And beforehand, too, you do explain. But when they're driving, you make sure that customer is totally in awe of whatever. Now, if they want to ask a question, that's fine. But no, I would just sit back and I'd be like, enjoy this and that, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you're comfortable. This now, are you ready to go? Blah, blah, blah. But you're not going to sit there and show them the infotainment screen or whatever we had back then and say, oh, look at these great buttons here. No, that's interrupting them enjoying the experience. So yes,
because there was two things. First, when you sent them home with it, they were sending them out on a rocket, because you were hoping that their neighbors would see it, their wife would see it, whatever, and then they have to buy the car. So you send them on a rocket. The other thing, though, is that, and it's typical in business, whoever speaks first loses. That is, and literally, when a salesman just does not stop, it's like, dude, I'm gonna bend you over. I'm seriously, man. You're gonna hurt from what I'm gonna do to you on this deal. I'm gonna hurt you. Yeah. And I've done that. I literally, because he wouldn't shut. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna absolutely hurt you.
I'll be honest. I'm a soft closer. I never was. I've sold thousands of cars. I can honestly say that.
Mhm.
That's why when someone sit down with me and say, "Young man, I bought a lot of cars in my life," I look right at them and say, "Guess what? I guarantee I've sold more than you ever bought. Do you want to start over? Okay, this ain't my first rodeo." I would. I'd be like, "Look, buddy, I'm a human being too. Okay, I love rude customers." Anyway, I always like, don't pull the, you can't BS a BS. All right. But I was respectful, soft close, make sure they're totally happy with the product, and be transparent. You don't ever have to
Correct.
lie when selling something. You never have to lie. Now, some folks, honestly, Dennis, I would, depending on how busy I was, I'd say, hey, this and that, blah, 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 especially pre-owned market, obviously kind of qualified folks, you get to feel them out. I'd send people by themselves. If go ahead, I trust whatever, especially if it was like a Civic, M3, no. Okay. Different. Okay. Yeah. You want the Civic for your daughter? You two go have a nice drive. Really? Yeah, go ahead. I'll be here. And they come back and they were like, wow, I've never had somebody who never was breathing down my throat. Or I'd have fun in the car. I'd be in the back seat. I just sit back and let the father and daughter do their thing. Okay. And then we go back and talk business. That's when you do the talking.
Correct.
So you're right. He who speaks first loses. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. That is and that's like a big tip when you look for cars. Just don't say a damn word. Be as quiet as humanly possible, because especially if they're hurting, they're gonna eventually just show their hand, because at the end of the day they have to move tin. They have no choice but to move tin. It's in their best interest to make stuff disappear. And so you just always have to remember that they have to sell that car. And especially if it's a European lot, they own that car, so they have to sell that car.
Right.
The longer it lays there, the more it costs them. And in the American ones, they basically do like floor
plan.
Yeah. So they actually are paying an installment to keep it on that lot until they actually sell it. Then they pay Ford or General Motors, whatever, everything back. So you got to remember that they need you more than you need them at that point. And always remember that at the dealership. And I've literally, when I bought my F-150, I got up and walked out. I literally just put down the paper and walked out the door. And I mean, they came out. I actually got into my car. It was started driving away, and they stopped, jumped in front of the car.
And that's so old-fashioned, cheesy shit. Just pardon my French. I'm sorry. I mean, just throw out the real numbers.
They literally were screwing around on me on a demo model, and I'm like, enough, dude. Here's the number. This is the number. I know this is what it's worth, and this is what I'm gonna pay. Not a penny more. Everything's all set up, man. We're ready to rock and roll, but I'm not going to pay you a penny more.
No,
not anything else. No special undercoatings, no special nothing.
No,
this is. No. And I finally did get my number. I finally I got it for $15,000 off a sticker. It had 5,000 miles on it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And the fact is.
Actually, vintage? No, I sold Mercury. Mercury's and Lincolns. Hated every part of that.
Oh God. You were like the youngest guy.
Yes, I was. I actually sold. Wait. The thing is, I actually sold 2 Mercury Capris. The convertibles. I sold 2 of them.
Australian car, yes.
I sold 2 of them. I felt so bad after they went away. I felt so bad. I was sick to my stomach. I'm like, oh Jesus, what did I sell these people?
Here comes a potential victim.
Oh my God. I'm like,
no, but you know what? The thing is that I would always tell people, it's like, yeah, that's fine. I'll be a pre-owned used car sales. That's fine. But guess what? It's like you sell yourself, then you sell the product, and you really bond with someone. They'll pay you if they really like what you're looking at. That's why pre-owned cars are great, because let's say your front hypothetically is like, say, $5,000. Now it's good money for you, but you can blatantly have more room to help folks a little bit, but not, you don't want to mess yourself up. But if you have to get to a certain figure and you can do this and let's split the difference. There's a lot more fun in a pre-owned car, and it's less money too. Yes. And again, you get to use your automotive knowledge. And it does take, like even our friend Cato would say, Fluno, you couldn't sell a new car to save your life. But this guy, man, a used car, and not because I'm cheesy, but because it just was much more enjoyable to me. It was a lot more interaction, and I took a lot of pride in like making sure people were happy. I turned people off from cars. Like, look, folks, for your daughter, this and that. If you're a tuner or something, great. It's got some issues. Why don't we look at this over here? And they were very thankful that I wasn't worried about, oh, just selling you something. I want them to be happy, because then they would send friends.
Yep, exactly.
You got to make money. So you don't want to burn the bridges, which is what's happened in the last few years. All these people, these jacked up 10 grand over sticker, all this nonsense. And now people are so upside down, they're not making any money. So they were greedy and they killed a goose that lays a golden egg.
So yeah, and you know what dealer network did that the worst? It'd be Stellantis.
Really?
It's Stellantis.
Oh yeah.
They were literally they were essaying people. I mean, that's how bad the markups were. You went in there to try to buy just a regular Charger, just a regular Charger, or just a regular Challenger, nothing special. They were marking it up. They had the nuts to mark it up 15 grand. And this is why they have no sales now, because I mean, they ripped those people off. And you're right. Yeah. Those cars have no value.
No.
I mean, you bought a Hellcat for $100,000 in 2020.
Ugh.
That thing's worth nothing now. It's worth like 50,000 if you're lucky. If you're lucky, it's worth 50 grand. You're not buying anything. You're stuck with it. You're stuck with it till the payments go away. And honestly, that is the one thing that the automobile industry did to itself that I mean, there is almost no coming back in the short term for them now, because they have gone and they hurt people for 2 years in a row. Now all those people that bought cars are so upside down in those cars, they're not repeat buyers because they can't be. It's just the way life works. Any type of car, you can't be deep into a car. You just can't. A classic car, new car, you can't be deep. You just can't, because you'll never get out from underneath it. And especially in a classic car, because I've seen people pay way too much for classic cars. And, it's always, they do modifications. Oh, it's my car. Yeah, but if you need to sell it, you won't be able to sell it because you've done stuff to it that is not acceptable to the masses. And because you've done that, one day you may need the money to sell it, and then you're going to take an absolute beating on the car, which is not really good. I was just talking about how the automobile business beat people up for 2 years, and now they're just reaping what they sowed. That's why sales are so bad, and it's not just the price of the cars; it's that a lot of these buyers are so upside down on these things they can't buy a car. I mean, literally, it's like subprime plus.
It's really a bad, because it's not just, there's so many levels to this of, like, I could go on a whole tirade of that's the price. Like, oh, everyone's selling cars and during the COVID era and this and that, and lining your pockets, fine. Don't get me wrong. I sold 3 Shelby GT500s back in the day, and the first one was 20 grand over sticker. The second one was 15 grand over sticker. And my last one was, I think, like 9 grand over sticker, 10 grand over sticker. Those were allocated cars, and everyone knew that they could kind of do it. And you knew what the customer was doing, and they were very unique. My first customer was called Cabbage Man because he was a cabbage farmer, and he loved telling everybody how much he loved them. He literally would just say, "I love you, Mike." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's great." And I made like $7,400 off of one car sale. It took me 31 days to sell that thing, and I was obsessed with this customer. And I did. I made it happen, and I sold 3 over my time at Brandon Ford. But those were very low production, especially allocated, and it was like, who's going to get that up to sell this car? And no one could believe that Fluno got 3 of them, right? But it was a Mustang guy anyway. I owned a Mustang. So that's different. But when you're jacking up prices on like a Jeep Wrangler, okay, and you're ripping people off, and like, look how much I made on this front. Look, making money is fun, but I want my repeat customers, because you're not going to live forever on a 10-car month. And that's what's happened. And now, and so now it's dried up. And basically all those salesmen who made all that money, who were in it just for the short term, yeah, that was short lived. And and now the flip side, like you just said, Dennis, you just spent, for example, you're not getting rid of the GT500. You're a rich guy, this and that. Fine, you're going to put in the garage. It's still worth XYZ. But now you cannot trade in. And there's a guy I watch on YouTube now and then. He's a Mercedes dealership. People are like $50,000 upside down on a car. $50,000. Heck, I thought it was bad when people would have like 12 grand upside down. Like
that's hard to roll into it. That's a hard one to roll into.
There's no rebates anymore. You can't. I mean, yeah, 2 or 3, 4 grand. Okay, fine, whatever. You can make it work. That's always happened. But no, now though, the market is so saturated with people who should never have bought the car to begin with. Okay, and honestly, like I said, even as a salesman, I couldn't do that. I'd be like, dude, this is not a good idea.
No.
My Shelby people, I knew what they were doing, and they had the checkbooks, and they were unique people, and they wanted those cars for XYZ reasons. That's fine. Those are allocated cars. Like I said, there are exceptions to the rule, but making these ridiculous prices and saying, it's limited in this and supply chain problems, and you're doing that, they're never coming back to you for many reasons, not only financial, but because you were a complete schmuck, shyster, whatever we want to use, sleazeball, and it just adds insult to injury to the whole automotive buying and selling. So now not only that, Dennis, on another flip side is you can't get the flip of the new purchase.
Nope.
So now the company's suffering. So everybody who did this, it's a mess.
What year was that Shelby?
So they were, all 3 of them were 2007s.
Oh, so okay, that's the real classic one.
That's the true SVT car, VINed as a GT500.
Yeah, it's actually from Shelby.
Yes.
It's actually from Shelby. Okay, so so here, a good color. Here we go. It's this car. Open a new tab. So yeah, this is everybody. This is what a GT, real Ford. I mean, not Ford. Shelby GT350 is. There are no horses anywhere on this car. It is all snakes on there.
Yeah,
this is What this was. Yeah, this was the supercharged one.
Supercharged 5.4 manual transmission.
Yeah. So this was a real driver's car. This is a real driver's car. And that's the thing about these Shelbys were really driver's cars. The previous generation had better suspension, but it didn't have the supercharger. So it had the full race suspension in it, the previous one, if I remember correctly. But then they put more power.
The gentleman's race car, basically, because they were really geared like a banker's hot rod, you might say.
Yes. But, so these are, and I mean, honestly, right after Shelby passed away, these things shot up like a rocket ship. So if you had one, it was probably a good time to sell one. They're still going to be worth something because they were made by Shelby. I mean, literally they were made by Shelby. And so that's kind of a thing. Shelby does, they do kind of stand behind their stuff. You can actually send stuff back to Shelby in Las Vegas and they could do things to your vehicle. I saw them rebuild one of the Shelby F-150s. The what is that? The Snake, Super Snake, or whatever the hell? What
King Cobra, maybe.
I forgot what it's called, but it's the F-150. And they actually did like a whole guy lived in the islands. They did a whole big rebuild on it. They basically restored the truck for him at Shelby. I mean, it's not cheap. It's not cheap, but they can have done. And I mean, it's still a Shelby, no matter what. G Canada I see is a bagging on the engine, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's still a Shelby. Yeah. And Roush can never say it's a Shelby. It's just a Roush. And it's still just a Mustang. It's not a Shelby. It's a Mustang. And that's kind of the huge difference.
And there's a great example. Not knocking Roush or Saleen, because I think actually I like the Saleen look better.
Great products. Love their cars.
But but here's the difference. Okay, you bought a Roush Stage 3, great, 425 horsepower, this and that. Short shift transmission. Things are customized. It is VINed, as far as banks are concerned, as a GT Mustang, and not just that. The GT. This is back in the day, GT base Mustang. So you didn't even get a full gauge. My GT Mustang had a much nicer gauge cluster and interior because they started with the base and then roushed it up. So yes, you're buying it for 55 grand, this and that. That's cool if you want a fun fast car with brakes and cop brakes, cop engine, all that good stuff. But what you're getting is a customized base GT 500.
Correct.
That, yes, had a lot of new attributes, but you could tell it wasn't actually starting at a luxury level. We'll use that word. Where this
Correct.
was GT 500 or GT Mustang, not even it was starting as a GT 500 or GT, but premium package. And then they tweaked it with Shelby and SVT. That's very important. It was the SVT with Shelby that made this car. And yes, the 5.4 has a lot of bad attributes, but if you kept that engine maintained, then the oil wouldn't be a problem. That was the main glitch. It's all about the oil.
And most people that had these did that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because it's just who bought these cars. I mean,
exactly.
Honestly.
Yeah. And I still have my pinks, as we call them. I have my sales slips and all that stuff and I got to know the customers very well. It was a very fun experience.
I'll do some research on this. I actually don't think so. I think Shelbys are vastly worth more than a Roush.
Absolutely.
Roushes are limited, but they're still not a Shelby.
Right.
If you bring two of the cars identical to Mecum or Barrett Jackson, the Shelby will absolutely crush it. It won't. And I'll go look it up, but that's kind of my gut feeling on it. It's a Shelby. At the end of the day, everybody knows it's a Shelby, and it only can be made by Shelby. That's where it really comes to. It's only done by Shelby.
It's not that a Roush is not worth something. It is what the new buyer wants to pay for that car. Okay, so if you want to trade in, hypothetically, or your GT 500, it is going to be VINed, like I said, specifically as a certain car for monetary reasons. If you trade in your Roush, they're going to say, well, you have a GT Mustang. That's the difference. So, but now on a personal buyer situation, he's correct. That technically speaking, you want to drop another X amount for this because you want a Stage 3 or the P51. There are definitely limited editions. But that is a buyer to buyer. What are you going to pay for that? The value itself, from a banking perspective, is not the same as a GT 500 or any specialty car like that that's VINed a certain way.
No, that's kind of the thing. It literally is, it literally is just that little bit of difference because it is a specialized. It's just a specialized car, or a Roush is a tuner, basically a tuner.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's a better example. Roush Stage 1. It had Go Fast stripes, had a stock engine, again, GT base that they tuned up. Not even tuned up. It had Stage 2, at least had brakes and suspension with the short throw transmission. Okay.
Yes.
That's Stage 2. Stage 3 was your Mac Daddy, and then you could go from there, P51, etc. Now a Saline back in the day, and every dealership was different. You like Brandon Ford had a deal with Roush, not Saline. Ernie Hare, sorry, these are local Tampa dealerships. Ernie Hare had a Saline contract. Saline started, if I'm correct, with a GT Premium. So right there, you're already getting a better equipped car before they tweaked and customized it to make it a Saline. So to me, the value would be a Saline if you were going to go a tuning route like that.
Right. So I mean, that and that's where with especially with this, and this was any set of cars, anything that was factory done, anything that's factory done is, and that's what a Shelby is. It's factory done. Mm-hmm. Over time, is going to have a bigger market, is a bigger market than a customized car. It's a gigantic market. It's easier to sell a Shelby than it is a Roush. Any day of the week, you can sell a Shelby. Any day of the week. A Roush is a specialized market. And, same thing way back when, when you had like limited, like a
Yanko?
What? A Yanko?
Like a Yanko?
Yeah, Yanko. A Yanko Camaro. That wasn't made by General Motors. No, that was made by Yanko. Same thing with the Dodge dealership. Hell, I have a shirt with it on there. Grand Spalding Dodge. Grand Spalding Dodge, he put 6-packs on cars. He put 6-packs on Dusters. The thing is, it was a customized car. It was still just VINed as a 340 Duster. There was nothing else about it. It was a 340 Duster. So you kind of like, okay. It's like, okay. And it just really, I don't know. Right now, I'm just killing time trying to find the 2000. I found the 2007 Mustang. I found and I'm just trying to find the difference between the Roush and and I can't. I'm having a hard time. So we're gonna move on. I will.
Great conversation about it. And for the record, now that we're almost 20 years now in the future, not saying that a Roush isn't worth X amount of money.
Right.
Especially if they're like a Yanko. We'll use that as a good example. They are definitely a unique car. They were customized. Heck, we had Mark III. That Mark III is a Florida, actually based out of Ocala here. They would make a lot of custom vans back in the 70s and 80s. We had Mark III conversion Mustangs. They were cool. They were tricked out, and they're unique. But who's that buyer who's going to want that car that someone paid way up here for all the customization? Like you were saying about a customer, even a classic car. You customize a classic car, it's a love it or hate it thing. It's all about the personal taste of the next owner.
Correct. So, I mean, that's kind of the thing. All right. Actually, I found it. Holy mackerel. I found it. Okay. So, let me take a look what I got here. Oh, it's not even a contest. Oh, give me a break. This isn't a contest. It's not a contest. Okay. So that's where they are now. All right. Yeah, no. All right. So, all right. This is on classics.com. Okay. Classics.com. Hope I can see this. You know what? I'll take the chat down for a second there so we can see. This is your Roushes, and this line is like the average pricing. And this is for a 2007 Roush. The 1971 5th gen, stage 2, stage 3, 427R. All right,
yeah, that was a popular one.
Yeah. So here's the market for it. Not a lot of them sell. I mean, there aren't a lot made, but honestly, it's below 40 grand. You're looking top sales 42, lowest is 22, most recent 33, average is $31,000. Okay. 2007 Ford Shelby Mustang GT 500, average is $38,600. And honestly, the value is very steady. In fact, I would say it's starting to climb. Top sale 63,000, lowest 23,000. God knows what that looked like. Oof. And yeah, so this is it really is the Shelby will have more value. It will just have more value just because it is a VIN car. It is easy to trace. You can't make a fake. I mean, it's hard to make a fake, but you can make a fake. You can make a fake Roush all day long. You can make a fake Roush. Who says it's even a real Roush? It can be modified 2 years later, but was it modified new? And that's the difference. This was always this car. So it's just the same thing with any of those older cars. It's also hard to prove that point. I know that Roush does number their cars. They do all that type of neat stuff to show its availability. But at the long end, the long end, the Shelby's just holding its value better because it's a Shelby. That's just same thing with classic cars. What's going to hold its value better? A Satellite with a 383 in it, or a Roadrunner with a 383 in it? They were the same price new. The Roadrunner is worth a hell of a lot more now because it's a Roadrunner. It's not a Satellite. They same engine. It literally is the same engine in both cars, but that's just the difference. It's what they are. So there we go. We went on a little side note there, but
so it's a great conversation, and as we say, to each their own as well. I'm just more about having the more selling them, like I said, knowing that the Roush came with less features because they started base versus the GT500 with fully loaded. Let's just use that simple term.
Yeah. Exactly. You actually got less for the same price. You actually did. You really did get less for the same price because Roush is a smaller operation and the markup is a lot bigger on that car.
Heck, the 427Rs would go for like over 50. This is back almost 20 years ago. Maybe like $55,000 plus.
Wow. All right. So we'll get to the big thing because this is something to talk about. Detroit automakers want to bring back sedans. Will they last this time? The big three seem to all be coming around to small cars again at the same time, but will they commit or will this be another passing fade? So it said that things go, and I have a lot of comments on this. It said that things go to cycles. It's true in the car industry. In the wake of the Great Recession, American automakers pledged to heed consumers' pleas for small cars and sedans. The big three kept up the act for maybe 5 or 6 years, then unceremoniously began killing them off in favor of more profitable SUVs. Fast forward to the present day, and the prices of new vehicles and many great goods are hitting new heights. So it should come as little surprise that Detroit is once again entertaining sedans for now. All right, let's stop there. Just on this first paragraph, that sedans didn't get taken away because the manufacturers didn't want to make them. It was because of the government and their fuel economy standards basically made it impossible to make a normal car cheap. That is number one. The government made it impossible. That's why they built SUVs. They had a different fuel economy standard. And you can sell an SUV that gets 16 miles to the gallon and not get hammered. But if you sold a sedan that did, you'd pay a gas guzzler tax. End of story. They would literally pay a gas guzzler tax if it got that bad a fuel economy. That is why they all went away in the teens, because of legislation. This is kind of really where the article is started on a fallacy. It wasn't like they just wanted to get rid of their sedans. Ford was making lots of money on the Panther platform. That Panther platform, which was the Crown Victoria and the Grand Marquis when the Mercury was around, and the Lincoln Town Car, that platform was paid for. They were literally just printing money every time they sold one. They absolutely were printing money with that car. And police departments loved that car. They could sell those all day long, fleet. All day long they could sell those fleet. Not even bat an eye. But the reason that car went out of existence is because it couldn't make the fuel economy standards. There's no way to make that car do fuel economy.
Which is sad because actually highway-wide, because my parents had a Crown Vic, be like 28, 29. It's not bad.
No. It is literally, a victim of legislation. And the same thing happened recently with Stellantis. That was not the market going, we're tired of the 300. We're tired of the Charger. were tired of the Challenger. I mean, even though they were all ancient, but they weren't tired of it. They were still selling them, and they were selling them very, very well. I mean, before they started winding down the 300, they sold like 100,000 of them. I mean, good God. And oh my God. Rooney 00. I just got an 11 Crown Vic at auction. Oh my God. Man, you got a good one too. You got a good one.
That's last year, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one. That has all the upgrades in it. But this article is starting off immediately on the fallacy, because this has happened before. And you don't have to, it's not the same, but history is always not the same, but it rhymes.
Yeah, exactly.
This is pretty much the same thing that happened in 1973-74 with the fake oil crisis that we created. And then in 77, when they started doing emissions, it's the same thing. Literally, there were outside forces that made the business not build the car that people wanted. People would rather have a sedan than an SUV any day of the week. Because just in general principle of being able to move it around, put it in your garage, go to a parking garage, go to a parking space, all these things in a car are so much easier to do than any type of these SUVs or pickup trucks, because pickup trucks have basically replaced the sedan, but they're enormous. I mean, my F-150 is 21 feet long. It is massive. I mean, it's
longer than my Lincoln.
It is stupid big. It barely fits in my driveway. It's stupid big. But, the thing is, I needed something to tow, and there are no cars that can tow anymore. And even the SUVs, really, they're not what I would feel comfortable with. And, oh, wow, look at this, man. 138,000 miles on that car. That thing's just broken in now. It's just broken in. God, that had the 6-speed transmission. Very good, very reliable transmission in that car. Extremely reliable transmission. Damn, that's a hell of a deal. I hope you got a hell of a deal on that, Rooney, because that sounds just awesome.
That's great.
So let's continue on this journey here. So General Motors President Mark Roos recently said that he would kill to have a hybrid electric sedan. Why? No one wants that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. And that GM is working on how to do that. It shouldn't be complicated, though. Credit to Ford CEO Jim Farley, who recognized that other companies worked that out long ago. It's just Americans who seem to be allergic to solution. The sedan market is very vibrant. Yes, look at BMW. It's not just there isn't a market there. We could just find a way to compete and be profitable. Stellantis, who actually has small sedans in Europe, lots of them actually, and they're all over the place. But yet they can't bring one here for some reason. Don't understand. Stellantis is also apparently actively investigating the segment, almost a decade removed from the Chrysler 200. Wow. We're bringing that up. We're bringing the Chrysler 200 up.
Oh,
wow. There's a new recall on that car.
Oh,
and had a lawsuit. Yeah, there's a lawsuit and a recall on the high emissions ones. The engines, all the emission stuff would fail. You have to replace the entire engine. A sedan that shared the platform with the ill-fated Dodge Dart, also mismarketed, just poor quality. Chrysler CEO Chrissy Fuel teased a sub $30,000 small car that would be beautiful and fun to drive and aspirational last year. Still haven't seen a working model there, Chrissy. Where's the working model, Chrissy? Chrissy, where is it? Can you show us, Chrissy? Where is it going? Here we go. Oh my God. Do you remember this guy, Reed Bigland?
God.
With Fiat.
Oh.
Under Sergio. There you go. Look at that. He has the slick back Sergio hair. Up until now, Detroit would have you believe that sedans' slim profit margins make them prohibitive to business. You've got to sell a lot of them, make the endeavor worthwhile, as Honda, Toyota, and Hyundai and Kia do. No.
Yeah.
Consider Kia's sales last month, a record January for the brand. Its second best-selling vehicle behind the Sportage was the K4.
Restyled. Sharp.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the Forte stock. Same is true as Honda, the Civic, and Accord trailed only the CR-V in sales in January. Commit to giving customers what they want, even they might lack the margins of a King Ranch pickup truck. You could still make money. Those small cars wouldn't be bothering if they didn't. First of all, this is also aiming at the wrong market. It needs to be a mid-sized car at minimum because families want cars. And you're not putting a family in a Honda Civic. I don't give a crap how many doors it has. You're not putting a family in it. It's just not happening. This is amazing that it's so misaimed. That whole article is so misaimed. I love every part of it. Robbie McGrath, manager of product and consumer insights analyst at the firm Auto Pacific, told us that more than a third of 18,000 consumers surveyed who plan to buy or lease a car within the next 3 years said they consider sedans, especially mid-size and large ones. So basically the market's going, we want a big car. I want a big car. I mean, honestly, they want big cars. If in a market overrun by cookie cutter crossovers, you believe sedans have potential to stand out. No kidding. The demand is there, even if automobile makers have to bite the bullet and commit to a not as profitable sedan segment again. They should. I'm still trying. I'm confused on why this is not profitable. Because Ford can literally build a mid-size sedan on the Mustang chassis. Sure. That literally is a modular chassis. It's a unit body. You can make it any length you want. And it has independent rear on it. So I don't understand that. And you already have engines to put in that body. I'm confused.
I think it's just because the big two decided, hey, we're known for our trucks, XYZ, blah, 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 and they can do all that selling over here. In reality, it's because they want to line their pockets with the margins. And, let the Hondas and the Hondas and the Toyotas make their small cars still. Meanwhile, it's completely throwing away a whole segment that could be buying American products. We're all big on buy American. Well, and I'll be honest, I like my Kona Cross. I think it's actually a really cool vehicle, but don't get me wrong. I miss sedan or car in general, coupe, whatever, many times. I like that low feeling, whatever. But again, mine's actually very mid-size crossover. But it's almost like all these excuses they made, in my opinion, is, look at this great SUV. And I'm not knocking, technically speaking, SUVs in general, but they kind of made people want to buy them. Does that make any sense? Like, this is what you get. So it wasn't like American simply said, wow, I can't wait to have yet another gas guzzling car that I don't need all the space in, yada, 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 when my Crown Victoria was a great car that had plenty of room with like 25 cubic feet of trunk space. And they just get rid of them because they hedged incorrectly and greedy, we'll use that term, because not everybody wants or needs a $55,000 truck. It's on a podium for many people.
Correct. So here's G. Canada. He drove the Dodge version of the Chrysler 200 in 2008. See, the Dodge, the Neon was dead by then. I don't know what they had at that point because I believe that the 200 came out in like 2012. They had the 2.7, which actually was not a bad V6. The 3-liter is garbage. The 3.8 is garbage. But that was not a bad car. It's just really their quality control is real crap. It was the Sebring. Yeah, the quality control of that car was horrible. I mean, the car wasn't bad. It was just that it would break. Literally, you're waiting for that car to break. All-wheel drive sedans are a must now. Well, where you live, yes, you have snow, but down in Florida, I don't need the extra weight. I'd be okay with a 2-wheel drive car. I mean, a rear-wheel drive, simple, cheap to fix. So yeah, all-wheel drive is just a little much. Yeah, I figured out it's a Sebring, and yeah, on first blush, the car is nice, but mechanically, they just had so many things that just broke on them. There was typical post end of Mercedes, post Mercedes world. The quality. I mean, even when Mercedes was there, the quality was bad. I mean, to say it nicely, it was bad. I hear myself. So I literally just can't, and that was always the death nail of those cars, was that the quality control was absolute garbage. So here we go. There's even more in this article that, first is a comment by a dealer group owner in New Orleans who said there's a lot of people who bought Focuses and Escorts that ended up buying Explorers and Expeditions and F-Series later. It was an entryway, a gateway to get them in the brand. Yes, you got them sold on your service. Here's the last American sedan, and it stopped being made last year.
Yeah.
The Malibu. The last one. And they couldn't figure a way to keep this car going, which is absolutely embarrassing. Utterly embarrassing. You had a car that was selling, I think they were selling like 150,000 of them a year, and they couldn't figure a way to keep it going. That's General Motors for you. That's just incompetence.
And that was actually not a bad car at all.
No. I mean, it's just, it really, let's see. Yeah, because for some it might be true, particularly for consumers with the Focus in their 20s, then they have a family and you move up class sizes. But you still have customers who want the car they want. If as a Ford dealer in Ohio, per the publication, we're hanging on to his own Fusion as long as he can, since Ford doesn't offer one anymore. Fusion's a good car.
That was a great car, and their hybrid was actually a very good car as well.
Yes, they had actually one of the best hybrid teams. Actually, with in Formula One, they went stupid hybrid this year. I don't know how good the racing's going to be, but Ford made an engine. I'm assuming the Ford engine is going to be really good because Ford's engineering on it is the best you can make one of those. It really is. I mean, only one that's probably better is Toyota, just because it started the whole thing. But Ford technology on it, they figured it out really a long time ago, how to make the systems not be garbage. So yeah, I mean, it just it really is. I don't know. I just don't understand what is going on though with the manufacturers, that they can't figure out that, a four-door sedan, something like the Taurus size, it doesn't have to be
people
a Crown
would
Vic.
buy it. Like
what
I said, people would buy these, and this is why now they're wondering why they've lost so many extra sales to the imports.
Correct.
Because there's still plenty, even if you have a small family, like my Elantra, technically could fit, with luggage. We'll say 3 comfortably with a packed trunk and some in the back seat, and it got great gas mileage. Okay, and some of these SUVs, which are massive, really don't actually have tons of space on the inside. So it's not, and look, we've had families, I don't know, since the automobile was invented and before, people still, what happened to wagons or estates, as the Europeans would say, right? They're still popular. Wagons are still popular.
In Europe. In Europe, the wagon is one of the most popular things over there, or the estate.
Yeah.
The thing is, that's what I rented. I rented a Tipo and it was a Fiat Tipo, and it wasn't a horrible car. It wasn't a great car, but it was a station wagon that was small enough to drive on European roads. But I had 3 people and luggage in it, and I had a diesel, and I got 50 miles to the gallon.
Right.
And this is why. Oh wait, hold on 1 second. LB Bruin. It's okay, man. It's fine. You can always watch the rest on replay twice, maybe even 3 times. But the thing is that in Europe, they have those types of vehicles, and in the real world, a small station wagon is a hell of a lot more useful than an SUV.
Yeah.
Just on so many levels, it's so much more useful because it's lower to the ground. It's easier to get stuff in and out. It's easier to maintain because an SUV of any sort, even a crossover, it's raised up. There's much more complexity going on. You can put a simpler drivetrain in that type of car. And it boggles my mind. And this was a diesel stick shift. So I mean, you talk about a car you could just, and over there the car cost 20,000 euros. That's it. That's what the tax is. It was 20 grand, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! You bring this to America and you sell this for 25,000. My God, you would not be able to. You would actually have a line outside the dealership trying to buy these cars. 50 miles to the gallon, and you can put all your crap in the back. I mean, sign me up. I mean, honest to God, sign me up. But this is where, after reading this article, these people they just don't get it, and this is the problem we're having. Is that all right? We always bash Lee Iacocca for the K car and the minivan. I mean, these are two things for car guys that are like friggin', they're like acid. I mean, it's just the anti-car thing. But you know what? Lee Iacocca was a good businessman. He recognized the need in the market and immediately dropped the hammer and did this. And he marketed the minivan properly. Ford had a minivan first and did it wrong. They actually beat Chrysler to market and screwed it up. And that's where the market was ready for that product. As inferior or as bad as it was, the K car was a horrible vehicle. Actually, somebody in the comments saying, "Oh, it's not that bad." Yes, they were. They were that bad. They were terrible cars. But damn it, you bought a car for $5,000 that got you like 30 miles to the gallon and had a 5-year warranty. You're not going to complain. You're not going to complain. It got from A to B, and they got 30 miles to the gallon on the highway, and higher. That car actually was tiny. It got good fuel economy.
And when you think about it, Dennis, a crossover, even like my Kona, which again, I like the car. I got actually a compliment on it. Technically, the size that a crossover is nothing more than an elevated sedan. That's really what it is. Yes. It's all about, well, this is what we should have. Now, yes, have I used it for some more versatility, like my lawnmower and some bigger things? Sure. But it's also not an Escalade, which, again, nobody uses these things. And look, I'm not one of these people who, oh, you don't need to own one. That's fine. But I hate to say it like this. They also played on the emotions of bigger is better in America, and got to have bigger and better. And I'm sorry, the gas mileage should be a concern, especially everything we've been through since the 70s. Yes. You would think someone would say, there's nothing wrong with getting 30 plus. We got those kind of mileages in the 90s.
Yes.
Everybody having the 3.8 Buick, the GM engine, great engine, even supercharged, 30 on the highway. That's a great miles per gallon. You felt good. Okay, fine. And to me, it's just like I said, I'm not opposed to SUVs, but half these people can't navigate them properly. No pun intended.
No,
they can't. They take forever to turn. Parking problems, curbing. But it's just like you're taking up you can't even park in a parking spot. No. It's too tight. You don't care if you go into 2 different lanes of the parking spots. Not that anyone else needs to park somewhere. And it's ridiculous for most things. I think they're cool. In some ways, they're kind of, okay, awesome, go, Americana, but they're not everyone wants them. But yet we've been told this is what you need. And I think the Ford and GM capitalized on this emotional situation.
Yes.
And again, lining their own pockets. And now they're realizing, hey, this won't last forever. And wow, Kia, Honda, Toyota, they're still making these very successful. And most of these small cars now, like a new Civic is literally, I think, like the size of an Accord was like 20 years ago.
Well, all right. Well, the thing with the sedans and all, like BMW, BMW mainly sells sedans. I mean, honestly, that is their bread and butter. And the thing is, though, about the size, a 3 Series is now the size of a 5. A 5 is now the size of a 7. A 7 is now enormous. I mean, it's just it's a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's been size creep on the cars, but the thing is, they still have their sedans. Now, here's the other part that I guess a lot of people always forget. BMW's best-selling 3 Series is the 330, which is a 4-cylinder turbo. It's not the high-performance one. It is just a regular, kind of quick sedan. Yeah. It's not a high-performance, not a race car. It's not a track car. But they sell like 2 to 3 times as many of those as they do 340s. And therein lies where people want. They want something that they want the look. And that's always been the thing. They want the look because, way back when, even on sedans, you would always buy, okay, I want the wheels on it, not the hubcap, but the wheels. And it didn't matter if it had an inline 6 in it, as long as it looked decent. I mean, there are a lot of cars way back when that they looked great. It just, there was no go, but that wasn't it. It got good fuel economy. And there is where a lot of this is missing. The point is that it doesn't, and Stellantis just absolutely took in this shot in the sky. I mean, they just didn't come near the target because the Charger sedan is a failure. It is too powerful. It gets terrible fuel economy. That is not what people want in a sedan. They want something that's reliable, that gets decent fuel economy, and will not be scary when your wife drives it. Hate to say that, but that's true. So it's not scary because 500 horsepower is scary if you don't know what you're doing. It can be that can be really dangerous. Super dangerous. I just want to consider these chats because I love G Canada because I loved him talking about this car. The Peugeot wagon in the UK, 2.2 bi-turbo. It went both ways. Diesel, 6-speed standard, 50 miles a gallon. Absolutely. Is that Imperial though? Or was that American? Imperial, actually, that'd be even more impressive. Is it? Yeah. Or is it?
What, bigger? Imperial gallons?
Is Imperial bigger? Yeah. It'd be like, I think Imperial is bigger.
Yeah, Imperial's bigger because even my Lincoln owner's manual says American gallons and then Imperial. I mean, it actually has both ratings on it.
The Ford Aerostar was rear-wheel drive. The minivan was front-wheel drive and better in snow states. Well, it was beyond that. It was the ride too. Iacocca realized who was going to buy these things. He knew who was going to buy these things. It was going to be moms. The mother of the house was going to be in charge of this vehicle, whether she was driving it or not. She was going to be one, and he marketed it directly to them. He did everything in his power to make it so that the female buyer, or the female of the household would be the person directing this sale, because that's literally who was going to direct that buy. And he knew it. And that's where crossovers and all that really lose, because they don't have that driving force from your female partner, who's going to have a different need set than yours, because I know what I like to buy, but there are times when you should not be buying that because you need to have X, Y, and Z, because she'll remind you. And that's kind of the thing. It really is. That's the reality of car business. And that's why Coca did so well with it, because Ford with the Aerostar absolutely just missed them. They were trying to sell it as a work van. And it's like, and I'm sorry, but the household decision maker for the transportation of the children did not go along with that. That's what it really comes down to. And it's just so bad. I mean, that's Oh, the Villager. Oh, I actually sold the Villager.
I remember you used to sell those. Yeah.
Mercury Villager. That was absolute trash. It was they were in business.
It was a Windstar. It was a Ford.
No, it was Mazda. It was a Mazda. It was a Mazda.
Oh.
It was a
Really?
Mazda. Yes, it was. It was a Mazda. It was not great. It was not a great vehicle. No, I
The
felt bad
Mercury
selling those too.
Villager.
Let's see. Let's see. I've been buying. Wait, I love this. I've been buying USA gas since 5 weeks after my 16th birthday. I used to bring a 5-gallon can. It was so much cheaper than Canada, close to the border. Always use USA out miles a gallon just because. Okay. Look at that. He's illegally exporting gasoline to Canada.
Nice.
He's a criminal. He's a gas runner. The Mercury sedan. Mercury sedan was the Sable, and the big one was the Grand Marquis, or you had the mid-sized one based on the Mustang chassis called the Marquis.
Yes,
the Marquis de Sade.
Oh, those were awful. Like the Ford LTD, that mid '80s, that was terrible looking. But weren't horrible cars. They just were. I mean, my uncle had an LTD, like in baby blue.
Yeah. The Fairmont-based Mercury. You had the Fairmont and the hell was the Mercury? The Mercury.
Oh, Zephyr.
The Zephyr, yeah. That didn't sell very well. You had the Zephyr. And then, of course, it was the Versailles was also part of that whole debacle. All those were not good cars. Those were Lee Iacocca cars.
Actually, the Versailles was a Monarch, actually, or a Granada. Yes. That's what that was. Yes,
but it was based on a Falcon. It was based on still on the Falcon's chassis. That was a Lee Iacocca thing. That's why the Deuce fired him.
Yeah.
Literally, it was because of stuff like that. He's like, nope. It wasn't anything to do with the Pinto. They could care less about that. It was that you're trying to push down mid-sized cars, and we're a full-size car company. Literally. The Topaz. Oh my God. I sold one of those too. Oh, you had a 77.5 Versailles? My grandfather had a 78, and it had. See, and the thing is, I couldn't find it in any of my research, but it had EC2 on it. It had the second version of their electronic control system, and I know that we set the timing behind the glove box on that car. Because the computer controlled it, sort of, kind of, and you set it behind the glove box. It was a nice car. It was just uninspiring, and it was scary on the highway because the suspension was so soft it actually floated, which was
4-wheel discs. Very popular in the hot rod community.
First American car to have 4-wheel disc. Yes.
And was it halogen headlamps, or was that the Seville that had halogen headlamps?
It had halogens too. Yeah. They went overboard. See, this one still had the 351 and that variable Venturi carburetor, one of the worst things ever created by mankind, because the Venturis were electronically controlled and changed size to change the flow of the airspeed, and they would actually freeze up and the car would run like ass. I think I had to do a video on variable Venturi because I don't know if I could find one now. I would love to find a variable Venturi and explain the stupidity of it, but that's literally what it did. Is that it literally would change the size of the Venturis to change the air charge.
Oh God!
And it was a really, really, really bad idea. It was really a bad idea.
They were trying things.
Well, Ford always had a better idea.
Yeah. Ta-da. A better idea. There's Ford.
Always had a better idea. Let's see. YouTube Car Spotter Guide 1. The Vapor Lock King was a 79 Mustang 5-liter. Oh, well, didn't they run Hollies on those? And that's why. I mean, they ran Hollies on those small ones. I think they were running like, wait, did they even have 4 barrels? No, I think they had 2 barrels. So they had the big Holly 2-barrel in 79. And those things were just absolutely just, if it's hot out, you're done. You weren't going anywhere. You weren't going anywhere at all. That thing was going to just absolutely just stop working. Oh wow. Oh my. Oh no, you killed a Olds 350 in a Seville. Oh my. How the hell you kill an Olds 350? How do you
Was it a
kill one of
diesel?
those? No, the Seville would be a regular one. Oh my god, that was a good engine, an Olds 350. That's why they kept using it. Yeah. YouTube Car Spotters Guide 1, California Smog. Oh, that even made it worse.
Yeah.
That even made it. He beat him in a race with it. I'm like, oh, okay. But by the mid 70s, those General Motors engines were a little anemic. Would be
Like,
the word.
yeah.
They're very anemic. They were sad, actually. The what was it? The Corvette, the '79 Corvette, was outrun by the Little Red Express truck.
The Little Red Express. Yes.
Little Red Express could outrun it all day long. Even
Because why? The rules didn't apply to trucks, just like we're still having to deal with that now.
I know. Yeah, history may not be the same, but it rhymes.
It rhymes.
Yeah, Buchanan, that's right. The Olds 350 had 41 horsepower in the 80, but they didn't die. Exactly. They had no power anymore. They took all the compression out of that engine. They undercarbureted it. They did everything for emissions on there. In fact, they put they had an early computer system and it just wasn't very good. Chrysler's computer system was actually better, but it wasn't engineered well because Chrysler had no money. And so they put everything inside the engine bay, which of course made it fail. But yeah, the General Motors, they had but they did create their distributor from that. The oh my god, I can't think what it's called. Everybody uses it. It's the one that I can't think of what it's called all of a sudden. The distributor, the distributor that General Motors with that had the module inside of it that they use forever.
I can't think of the.
Yeah, I'm blanking on this. This is what happens.
All I keep thinking about was my dad. He bought a brand new 78 Impala with a 305, had 135 horsepower. Right. Tell you what, though, it lasted 350,000 miles. But let me tell you, the compression ratio rivaled that of like a 41 Plymouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, it was like 7-1. Like, whoa.
Yeah, HEI. Yeah, see, that was the one good thing that came out of all that nonsense in the 70s is General Motors figured out the HEI distributor. And once they figured out how to keep the modules from like melting, it's a phenomenal scalable distributor because you can change it for any, and that's why a lot of hot riders use it because you don't have extra wires. Everything's built into it. I mean, the caps are this friggin' big, but you put everything is inside, so there's less wires running everywhere, and it's a very, very high spark. That MSD uses that type of design. It's a high spark. So, it's why a lot of hot rodders use that setup because you just get more burn in the engine compartment, and so you can do higher compression. And there's vintage 76 Viper Green Beetle saying sayonara. Oh my God. Wow. So my dad traded in a Versailles on a 79 Fleetwood. That was a great car. That's right. That still had a 425 in it.
No.
Screaming like all 470. Yeah. The Cadillac was so close in the late 70s and early 80s. They were so close. And yet they found ways to screw it up. Yep. They literally found as many ways as they could to go, yeah, we're making garbage. They made the diesel, the 468, and then the Seville with the really weird ass end on it. That bustle
at least
end.
The 468 you could disconnect. It was a 368, which was a solid engine. But, yes. I mean, the thought was excellent. It just wasn't. They still can't actually really get it right today with computers.
General Motors has the biggest problem with the cylinder deactivation. Literally, if you want to toast one of their motors, leave that connected. Leave it connected.
My friend's Denali, that thing was. Sorry, I digress. It might as well have been a 70s car. I mean, really, that thing was constantly constantly breaking down
if you want to
in
know
a
how bad those are,
$75,000 car.
if you want to know how bad those General Motors cylinder deactivations are, watch a channel called I Do Cars. He has a scrap yard out in St. Louis. He's done a bunch of those engines. The destruction from those cylinders not firing and doing all this stuff is absolutely amazing. Same thing with the Chrysler one. That's why if you have any of those Hemis with that, you disconnect that because it just absolutely it for some reason it just adds wear to the lifters.
Yeah.
It just destroys the drivetrain. So it's like, wow.
Well, you're basically taking something that's supposed to be doing something at all times and changing what it's supposed to be doing. You know, I mean, that's a very simplistic way of saying it, obviously, but you're kind of jacking the whole thing up.
Exactly. And, you know, it really, in the long run, doesn't work well. You know, I'm kind of glad Ford never did that. You realize Ford never did that on any of their cars. They never put cylinder deactivation on anything because it's stupid. It really is. It's not a good idea. Actually, nope. I can't think of anybody else that's actually used that system. I really don't. They're only General Motors and Chrysler, so Stellantis, Fiat, whatever. They're the ones that used it. But nobody else I know, like off the top of my head, that jumps out at me that used it. Because BMW can't, because on their inline sixes, you can't do that. It's impossible. Their eights are so high strung, you shouldn't do it because you'll blow the engine up. Because if it goes lean, because their V8 is the hot V8 with the turbos in the middle. You don't want to start deactivating there. They already barely work now. I mean, let's add something to it. Let's see. Oh yeah, in the Ram, you only put it in tow mode. Yeah. There are ways to defeat it in the Charger and Challenge. You put it in sport, it'll defeat it.
Oh,
but but you know, a lot of people didn't and just let it go. And well, you know, the rest they say is history. But yeah, I mean. So now we're at a part now where they have such diverging things coming from Detroit that, you know, Ford is running around. Last week I talked about their electric appliance charge, which I don't understand considering it took a $19 billion loss, and making this pickup truck that's not a pickup truck. It sounds like a Cybertruck, which isn't selling. And now this week they're all of a sudden, oh, well, you know, maybe sedans. Well, yeah, but you lost $19 billion on electric appliances. If you had just put that towards sedans, you would have had three sedans and money left over.
Yeah,
you could add 3 different size sedans, and literally because of unit body, if you do unit body, you can make them scalable, small, medium, and large. They could literally have the same engine bay. I mean, look, Dodge did that with the Challenger and the Charger in 1971. The Challenger had the same engine compartment as the Charger and the Coronet. It was the same, identical. And literally, so a station wagon had the same engine compartment as a small Challenger. It's very easy to do. Yeah. Oh, sitting in traffic kills. That's the Hemi. That's why you got a Hemi tick. Unless you put a Hellcat oil pump on it. It's a high pressure, high volume. It's the only thing that kills them from dying. So, yeah. Exactly. So, yeah. So now this is where we are with Detroit. This is where we're at First Brands. God only knows what Stellantis' numbers are really going to show us. I bet it's very bad. I have a feeling it's very, very bad. I bet North America is a disaster because we only got the high level number. In Europe, they're actually doing okay. Like Italy, they actually are selling cars. They're actually selling cars in Italy. I saw a lot of Stellantis products. I was shocked. But then again, they're offering insane deals.
They're a European company.
I know,
but no, they don't understand us, I guess.
No, they don't
care.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Stellantis does not understand the U.S. market. And plus, the people they have in place don't understand the U.S. market either because they want to Hellcat everything, which is not going to make you any money. You selling 3,000 cars isn't going to save a division. You need something that sells 200,000, and that would probably be a V6 with 300 horsepower, getting 35 miles to the gallon.
Right.
That would literally sell.
With good quality, nice
interior.
Well,
come on, let's not get crazy.
I know. I'm sorry.
We're talking about Stellantis. Let's not get crazy. Quality, easy. You know, that's some crazy talk you got going on there. What are you smoking?
I know.
Quality,
exactly.
quality from Stellantis.
Hey, I'm thinking big. I'm pulling out the stops. I'm swinging for the fences.
Quality.
God forbid we have, not an 07 Chrysler interior.
Oh, do you realize that they I saw a survey that they were actually at the bottom. I mean, literally at the bottom, because they're just garbage. They built such garbage.
It's terrible. Like, who is making their molds? Like,
I don't know, but I know they always went to the lowest bidder for interior parts, and it shows. Oh, Christ. The interiors that are just like the most uncomfortable thing you've ever said. And the materials, it's like this is like children's play sets.
Yeah, it's terrible. It makes GMs like 90s Fisher Price big bloaty gray and black knobs look like a Lexus.
Yeah. I just, and that's I mean, that there's no saving if you don't improve the way it looks and the quality, because it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, if it's garbage, no one's gonna, at the end of the day, people aren't gonna buy it. It's just, that's why all these EVs stop being sold. It has nothing to do with government, this or that. It has that literally they're not as usable or reliable as a good old electric car. So, it's just kind of sad. I love this. LB Bruins. It sounds like the interior of my 62 Valiant with bucket seats. The Valiant was the cheapest thing made. I mean, literally, that was the bottom of the Plymouth totem pole. And a 62, my God. I mean, did it have a rubber floor in it? I almost guarantee it had a rubber floor in it. No carpeting. Had it not have carpeting, there's no way it had carpeting.
But again, that was a way different era. I mean,
true, but then again, back then when you bought that 62 Valiant, you paid like $2,600 for the car.
That's what I'm getting at, is that
you paid nothing,
went along, and it still at least had style.
Oh my God, he got the upgraded, the V200. That one had carpet.
Oh.
The 100 had none. Had rubber.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, you paid nothing for that car. It had a slant in there. You drove it for 200,000 miles until it fell apart, and you got your money's worth out of it. I mean,
I think that's also a problem, Dennis. Is everyone expects? Like, I remember my dad had these old National Geographics. They were like advertising Datsuns, and they actually put in there like full carpeting. And I'm thinking, why would that be in the ad? Well, because that was like a luxury thing for a cheap car. Now everyone expects your car, even if it is 15 grand, to, like I said, be like everyone wants top-notch stuff, but doesn't want to pay for it. Like, we'll go back to my Kona. Yeah, it's got plastic and this and that. Pretty sharp. Still is less than 30 grand. It's a really nice vehicle, but I knew I wasn't going to be getting like an S-Class interior. Okay.
No.
But it's still nice. I mean, I think it's actually really, really nice. But you're not going to, it's like, here's your 15 grand car. But even in the 90s, you got an inexpensive car and you knew you weren't getting the best of the best. People had that. But now the mentality is, it's kind of like everyone thinking now everything should be 2% interest. It never used to be that way. So the mentality is now changed where, I want a brand new car and I want it cheap. Well, you're going to get what you get. Okay. So, and I'm not knocking it, but that Valiant is what you knew with your Falcon. You were not getting the Continental. Okay.
No.
And that's
but
okay.
it would get you to work and home.
Yes.
With no problem. No questions asked. You would go both.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, LB Bruins did a lot with this car. It actually had a 345 shore grip in it. Spray painted it with cans. He bought it for 125, sold it for 400. That was good old days. And he actually practiced doing seat covers on it. See, that's the thing of a cheap car. You can have fun with it.
Well, like my dad would always say, when things of classic cars, you see the Bel Air, it's all lit. No, they had painted bumpers back then. Not everything had a white wall on it. If you bought a Chevy 150, it didn't even have the same damn steering wheel as a Bel Air. It looked like a truck. So it's not like, oh, look at these 50s cars. They're so glitzy. There's always been base models.
Absolutely. And the base models always sold 10 times with the high end.
Absolutely. Right. We just seem to think everything was a 59 Barrettes.
Okay? I mean, in 68, they sold 100,000 Chargers. Well, that's great and all. They sold like 300,000 darts. I mean, and most of those Chargers were 318 or 383 Chargers. They were not 440. I mean, it's such a small percentage was the high performance one.
One of my sales managers told me, could be wrong, he might just be exaggerating. You know what the number one selling car in the Tampa Bay area was in 1997? A Nissan Sentra.
Oh, absolutely.
I wonder why. Because inexpensive, great fuel economy, a little bit of fun to go around. You had SCR, stick shift, 2-door, 4-door, whatever. Everyone could buy one. And they were well known for what the offerings at an affordable price. Number one, that's just, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. Man, LB Bruins had too many cars, man. So it sounds like my uncle almost. Had a 67 Bel Air 4-door sedan. Okay, it's actually not a bad looking sport door. 283 with a power. Oh, dear Lord. I hate to admit it, but that was a damn good car until it broke down on me. It's just, oh my God, that thing had to be timing it with a friggin' hourglass. That 283 was that didn't light the world on fire. But yeah, that was reliable. I mean, honestly, that was reliable. Good car though. I mean, that's actually a good looking car. Yeah. Well, yes and no. Canada, it's easy to sell North American cars, 60s to no international competition. Yeah, true. Well, the internet plus the international cars, their businesses hadn't ramped up yet because of a little war that had happened.
Yeah. But they were making their strides. There was some big, the Beetle and some other vehicles the Beetle especially was the biggest thorn in Detroit, I would say.
Yes, the one that was designed by the Austrian painter. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that car actually in the 60s, you could actually see the market share they got. They actually were coming up on 5% market share.
Yeah.
In the 60s, they were actually scaring everybody, and that's why Ford got so upset with Iacocca making the Falcon bigger in 67 because they were worried already then. They were worried about it. Chrysler was just walking around, just hoping they can make it the next year, not realizing that they needed a good small car, which they never got. They didn't have a good small car to the Omni. Seriously, something that was they had the Cricket, and they had the Dodge,
the Colt
Mitsubishi.
Yeah, that was a cool looking little car.
It was a great car. They mismarketed though. They had no idea what the hell to do with it. It actually had its own brochure. So like my Dodge brochures from 72 don't have the Colt in it. It's not in there. It does not count. Yeah. Absolutely. G Canada, my car was running on 6 cylinders. Okay. I can run 14 seconds now. I can run sub-tips 14 seconds. You need a little more than 200 horsepower for that. Yes, E-bodies were short and B, but actually E-bodies were designed the same time as the 3rd generation Charger, that B-body, in the late 60s, like 68, 69, because Chrysler wanted to make a car to compete with the Mustang, but they wanted to also have cost efficiencies. So the new B-bodies and the E-bodies were going to have the same engine compartment, because that was a big thing, because then they could just use the same front ends, the same brake setup, the same brake master cylinders. They could use all the same engines. Literally, it was a thing on their part. The problem is that the 70 B body did not come out when it was supposed to. It came out in 71. So we had the 1-year orphan cars in 70 that have all the weird strange. That's why they look nothing like the 69s, because they were basically hurriedly designed to have differences and not look like the 1969 cars. And they were supposed to be the 71 bodies. Yeah. So that's what happened there with the E-body. And of course, the quality control on that car was so incredibly horrible. It sold incredible in 70 and 71 and crashed to earth in 72. I mean, literally by the last year of 74, I think they sold like 15,000 Barracudas and like 12,000 Challengers the last year. That's how bad they were. That's how bad they were. Yeah. So I can just see that this is, it was, but that's basically what it was. I ran a low 14s. Start using a calculator on a 3,500 pound car, doing a 14 2/4 mile, and then to get back to me. Okay, thank you. And that was with a bad jetting on a carburetor. I'll wait for Fluno to come back, and then we're gonna wrap this mess up, because I actually really love talking about cars. I adore cars. That's why I do videos about cars. I absolutely love it. So I can just sit here and just yip yap about cars, because all new car stuff all relates to old car stuff. It does. I mean, like I said, history isn't always the same, but it does rhyme, and that's where we are. I'm gonna block you. I don't really care. I may just block you. So yeah. But so right now with the whole car business. Oh, there you are. We're talking about how new car stuff still relates to old car stuff, because it's always the damn same cycles. Same damn cycles. Ooh, I'm getting material together to do 1776 videos. Cool. 250 years ago. There you go. So yeah, and how everything's the same, because literally they needed years ago, even in the late 60s, they were trying to figure out how to make better sedans, because that was the thing. And that's why Chrysler changed its sedan in 1971 with the B-body sedans. They changed them radically, and they sold well because of that. Ford screwed up their mid-size cars completely in the late 60s. Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. So any parting words, Fluno?
No, I just want to say thank you all again for joining us, and always a pleasure being on here. Dennis, I'm glad we had a robust discussion on many topics as always. And next week maybe we will talk a little more about that one article. Like I sent you. It's funny we talk about Car and Driver. When I saw that article on the Leaf, and then I said, well, based on XYZ and the price and whatever, like it's trying to be what the electric car is that we've talked about. But for that price point, go with the Sentra. And not to get into a whole new topic,
there's a lot more on it. Yeah.
Sedans. So maybe, but no, really, that's kind of about it from my end here. And again, I thank everybody for joining us and supporting my friend's channel here. And I'm glad to be with y'all.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. And remember, if you have something cool or something fun, just take it out, because you're going to make someone's day, and it will, it definitely will happen. I had a Joe Biden moment there for a second.
Yeah. It'll make your own.
It'll make your day.
Maybe your own. Maybe your own.
Maybe your own. All right. Yeah. Actually, I think they had better quality in the 90s, but there's that. Okay. We are going to end. See everybody next week, and I should have another fun video out too. Bye for now. If you liked what you saw, subscribe. If you didn't, thank you for watching to this point. And as always, if you have a cool car or something fun to drive, take it out. You'll make someone's day, probably your own.